defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here I am. I have a lot to get to today, and actually I'm going to do something a little bit different on today's show. It's something I've kind of been thinking about, and I'm reflecting back. You know, you think about terms of like, you know, what's going on in the economy. Yeah, you can talk about what the Fed's doing, interest rates. But you know, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I decided, you know what? Let me just do a podcast episode on this. And actually, I'm recording this here right before I leave. I'm flying out. And you guys are like, Justin, wait, what? You're flying out? You're just in Australia and this and that. What do you think you're doing? You say you're so damn busy with farming, and here you are flying out. Okay, guys, hold on a second here. I mean, I know I don't have to explain myself, but yeah, farming, busy. I had to get all that done. This is my one time a year. Once you get the corn planted, you can fly out. You don't have to worry about ditching corn. You can hold off a little bit on spraying, you know, laying out pipe. Because once all that stuff happens, then it gets really busy again. This is my one opportunity. And that's the thing with anything, right? When you know you have little, you know, windows of opportunity, you just have to take them. You don't second guess yourself. You just do it. It's the same thing I notice like when people are driving on the road. I can't tell you. Like I'm driving, you know, tractors down the road. I'm looking in my rearview mirror. I see these guys behind me. It's like, okay, there's a dotted line. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it's a dotted line. I'm going 25 miles an hour. Are you waiting for the second coming of Christ to pass me? And here's what these guys do. They're just hanging out behind me. They're driving behind me for like a half mile. And then they decide, okay, let me go kind of peek out, see if anyone's coming. And then once they do that, they realize, oh, there's someone coming. Okay, got to get behind the tractor again. And it was a straightaway. They could have, if they didn't hesitate, they'd get right out there, get around me. Doesn't take very much power to get around a tractor that's going 25 miles an hour. But I can tell you all this happens all the time. Or these people wait behind me and they wait and they wait. And I'm coming up on this bridge. And I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, you better not. Because I'm ready to pull into the middle of the road. I don't let people pass me on bridges. Because when I'm pulling, you know, like a roller harrow behind me, the corn planter behind me, only I can fit over the bridge. If I try to just stay on one lane, I'll take out the signs. I might kind of brush up against the bridge. And these guys try to pass me right before the bridge. Like people, I don't freaking get it. Like so many people hesitate. Or I don't know. Why am I talking about this so much? About just, you know, just the stupid thing about people passing people. But just people with life in general, they hesitate. Oh, no, I don't know if I should do this. Is it the right time? No. Just go do it. You learn so much just by doing things. Why do you think one of the main reasons I started this show in the first place? Just do it. Don't think about doing it. Don't think about talking about libertarian, you know, politics, economics, you know, just things in general from the libertarian angle, the freedom angle. Just go out and do it. Yes, we can all make excuses all day long. Oh, well, I'm too busy. Well, yeah, I mean, I want to be boating on the weekends with my buddies, you know, drinking. We can always rationalize. We can always make excuses. Just go out and do it. If you want to be exceptional, if you want to do something, you know, way beyond what your buddies are doing, then you have to do something way more than they're doing. If you're only working 40 hours a week and that's all you're doing, you're probably not going to excel much beyond that. But if you're taking your downtime and you're trying to improve your skills, you can become something so much greater. One book I recommend to you guys, and I know I've recommended it to you when I first finished this book several months ago. It's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Holy crap. I can tell you, reading that book, so many things I started doing in my life just intuitively. You know, like starting this podcast. Like I think this would be a great way to build up skills and, you know, communication sort of skills, trying to be quasi-entertaining at the same time, talking about issues and trying to be serious and not so serious all at the same time. You know, try to be effective. And then just doing it. And just as you're doing something and you're always pushing yourself, you keep getting better and better. And yeah, and it's like what Darren Hardy describes in the book. I don't know what he says. It's like you got one of those little water spigots in the middle of the desert or whatever. You know, you're pumping and you're pumping and you're pumping. No water's coming out. You're like, this is worthless. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. I'm wasting my energy. Well, then you keep pumping and you keep pumping and you keep pumping. And then a tiny little trickle of water comes out. And then you keep pumping and pumping and pumping. And now water is gushing out. Now that analogy right there, that describes life. When you're building up skills, trying to attain skills in the first place, the first several years, it's frustrating. You feel like you're not going anywhere. Because it's like, here you are, you're pumping, you're pumping, you're pumping. You're not seeing anything. You're not seeing any noticeable differences in terms of, say, monetary income, But eventually, the water just comes gushing out. It's like, holy smokes, things I thought were so hard before, it's like, this is easy. And then you start looking at people that used to, you're really close buddies with or whatever, and you're looking at like, holy smokes, like just how much different you see things and certain things that like how you guys are like probably pretty close in comparison with skills before, and now you're way different in terms of skills, whether that's, communication skills or, whatever it is, or just maybe you've really focused on trying to understand economics, what's going on in the economy, whatever that is. But even other sort of skills, there's just over time, just slowly building up these skills, it turns into something big. And that's what people don't realize. Like most people, if you just look at life in terms of, you're just putting time on the clock, just so you can get a paycheck, just so you can live. From my perspective, I think that's the wrong way to live. I mean, I look at in terms of, okay, money I've got, what opportunities can I go expose? What opportunities can I get to come my way with the money that I have at this point in time? And like for me, you guys can like, Justin, what the hell are you doing? You think you're traveling all over the world again? Yeah, actually I plan on leaving for London in 2 days. I'm flying out Monday morning. And I see, from my perspective, an incredible value of traveling the world and seeing different cultures, gaining things from history, just things that you've seen in history books for years and years and years, and actually seeing them, it's coming to life, and just really is, experiencing cultures and, different people, and, like people's politics from London are way different than here in the United States or Australia or Mexico or, you name it. Look at Venezuela. There's just so much useful information you can gain. And I think the person who really kind of instilled like a travel bug in me, if I were to pinpoint it, one person would be Doug Casey. I've had Doug Casey on the show. He's a guy who's lived all over the world. And I've said this before, guys. He's a guy, when I was interviewing him, you can just sense his knowledge and depth of knowledge, and just like, wow, like there's just so much insight he has. Part of that is from his experiences. A guy who's lived all over the world. He can see things from like this bird's eye view of things. If you just stayed in the United States, or like I'm in Montana, if I just stayed in Montana, I never left Montana, and I step outside of Montana, it's like, whoa, I didn't realize there's, more to the world than white people. I mean, I guess that's putting it bluntly. Are people going to come after me like, oh my gosh, Justin, you're not being PC? Well, I'm just saying. Montana is pretty white. Same with, Sweden. Like if you just stay in Sweden or you just stay in Montana, like things don't seem really that diverse. You think everybody's just like you, but you get out. Now, when I'm saying this, am I saying, oh my gosh, different skin colors, that makes a big difference? No, I'm not saying that at all. But people, regardless of skin color or whatever, but cultures, just the way people grow up is so much different. A city person compared to a rural person, someone who grew up on a farm, how they see things can be different. It's just being able to try to understand that and at least witness it and see that it's there. I think it really helps a person out. And I noticed from my travels so far, it's helped me out a lot. And that's what I want to do when I'm traveling over to London. I think I'm renting a car. There's just, oh my gosh, there's so much to see in London. Obviously, you got all the history museums, and I'll be driving on the other side of the road again, just like in Australia. So I'm pretty used to it now. But now I rented a manual, so that'll be fun. So anyway, guys, wow, I really went off on a hell of a tangent there. So what I want to do on today's show, I was going back one one of my very first guest on the show was Dr. Mark Thornton. He's a senior fellow at the Mises Institute. He's really knowledgeable guy just about economics. He's obviously an economics professor, and he's also done a lot of research in terms of legalizing drugs. And another thing he's known for is what he's called the skyscraper curse. From what I've learned about the skyscraper curse, I've noticed this in another industry, and it's something that I'm calling to borrow off Dr. Mark Thornton, I'm calling it the cruise ship curse, or if I want to change the name later. But for right now, tentatively, that's what it is. So basically, Dr. Mark Thornton's idea with the skyscraper curse is he's looking at, wow, you go back and you look at the times when the world's largest skyscrapers have come out, they've all happened during, basically at the beginning of a depression. You saw Empire State Building built during the Great Depression, or just on the peak of it. The Dubai Tower, whatever the heck that thing's called. It's the largest building in the world right now. That thing was constructed in 2008, right at the peak of the housing bubble. Everything's bursting. Right now, Saudi Arabia is working on a tower. I think they're calling it the Kingdom Tower, or it's got another name, Jabba Do, something or another. Anyway, I think that thing will be done in 2019. And basically, what he's doing with this, looking at this correlation. Now, does correlation mean causation? Am I saying that because there's big skyscrapers built, that means that there's going to be a recession just based on the skyscrapers? No. But based on someone's understanding of the Austrian business cycle, it all makes sense. And that's why I'm drawing the same conclusion with cruise ships. So the idea is, and actually no, just to tie this in with skyscrapers. So what I've said thus far is that the largest buildings in the world have been built just before a bubble bursts. Even go back to 2000. You had another skyscraper built at that time. I can't remember which one it was. But it's consistent throughout history. Go read Dr. Mark Thornton's pieces on Mises.org and you'll find them. Now, interesting enough, in the cruise ship industry, when I was on the Contra cruise last year, we were on the cruise ship Oasis of the Seas. Now, Oasis of the Seas was actually the largest cruise ship in the world in 2009 when it debuted. Now, it takes a few years for a cruise ship to be built. I think originally Royal Caribbean decided in 2006, maybe beginning of 2007, that it wanted to build this Oasis of the Seas. Well, the height of the housing bubble was 2006, going into 2007. And so here we have the largest cruise ship in the world at the time, Oasis of the Seas, was constructed at that time. And here I have a piece here from this moment, just to kind of give you guys an idea of, people talking about it and just glorifying it and like, oh my God, things are great, blah, blah, blah. So here it is. 5 times larger than the Titanic. Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas is the world's largest passenger vessel ever built. Oasis left her shipyard in Finland on Friday, October 30th, 2009, and is set to arrive at her home in Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on November 20th, with her maiden voyage for December 5th. Okay, it costs $1.5 billion to build this ship. Okay, and here it is, what I was just talking about earlier. The vessel was ordered in February of 2006. So here we are still in the midst of the housing bubble. So see how this works? I'm going to be tying this in just a little bit later here. And basically the name Oasis of the Seas came from a ship naming competition in 2008. I know you guys don't give a crap about that. So now let's meander on into a piece I found from the Wall Street Journal. Now this is talking about cruise ships in today's world. And now keep in mind everything I've said here relating about skyscrapers, and we had Oasis of the Seas, largest cruise ship in 2009. Well, you guys know what happened in 2018, the start of this year? Royal Caribbean came out with the largest cruise ship in the world, and it's called Symphony of the Seas. It just came out, I think, in March or April, and right now it's over in Spain. Actually, I was thinking about, instead of going to London, if I would have booked it when I first saw it, I would have been on that ship because it was like really cheap, and then it really jumped up. It's like, no, I'm not going to pay that. It'd have been a nice little Mediterranean cruise. You're hitting, Madrid, Spain, and you're kind of hitting some major countries for a 7-day cruise, and the price is like cruise ships. Actually, if you can use it to see parts of the world like that, it's a very affordable way to travel. It's because, you've already got your room included, all your food's included. I guess if you drink, just a matter of getting the drink package, which that's really not too bad, what you pay for it. But if you can get in at a good price, it's definitely worth it. But, you wait till the last minute. Sometimes you get last minute deals. Other times, no. It's way too full and you're spending thousands of dollars for something that you could have got under, say, $1,000 a person for a 7-day cruise. So Royal Caribbean has come out with the largest cruise ship in the world in 2018 called Symphony of the Seas. So now from the Wall Street Journal here, this is really interesting, just kind of reading these things. And as I'm reading this, just think about the Austrian business cycle, bubbles, that sort of mindset. And actually, if you're new listeners to the show, you don't really understand, Justin, what the hell are you talking about Austrian economics? I don't know what you're talking about, the Austrian business cycle. Okay, I'll kind of get to that. I'm going to tie it all in. So here it is. Many orders, and they're talking about cruise ships here. Many orders are for 1,000-foot plus Leviathans that accommodate around 6,000 passengers. They cost around $1.3 billion and take more than 2 years to build. The cruise sector is experiencing a steady and continuing growth, says Antonio Artorino, a spokesman for Fincantieri, goodness, which is a current order book of around 18 billion euros or $22.3 billion. Cruise operators project they will have 27.2 million passengers this year in 2018. This is up 5.4% from 2017 and up 10% from 2016, according to data from Cruise Lines International Association, a trade body. Carnival, the world's biggest cruise operator with 9 brands, currently has 18 ships on order. The company orders 3 to 4 ships a year on average. Here's a quote. "We would like to have more, but there is only so much the shipyards can deliver." End quote, said Roger Fritzl, a Carnival spokesman. And then we got, let's just scroll down here a little bit. Okay, here it is. Continuing on. About 80% of overall cruise capacity is controlled by 3 U.S. giants. We got Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian. But yards also get orders from smaller operators and new entrants like Virgin Voyagers, a joint venture of Richard Branson's Virgin Group, and Bain Capital that will start sailing in 2020. China is expected to become a bigger player in the cruise ship building sector. The Beijing government in 2015 declared a 5-year plan to build its own cruise ship as part of a shift toward advancing manufacturing. The Chinese, the communists, the same guys who build these ghost cities are going to be building, I guess, ghost cruise lines too? Jeez. Okay, what if a lot of you guys are very well versed in Austrian economics, as I was reading this to you, talking about, let me scroll up here, like what I just said, how we see cruise ship capacity, the number of passengers keeps going up. So in 2018, they're projecting 27.2 million passengers. That's up 5.4% from 2017. And then 2017 is up 10% from 2016. So you're seeing huge growth in the demand for people going on cruises. Now, all of this gets to the Austrian business cycle. There's so many ways you could describe this. I guess one way I've described this on the show is talking about, say like because the Federal Reserve sets interest rates artificially low, it encourages a sort of stimulus in the economy. It's like, say the circus comes to town, but say, the town that you're in, you don't realize that it's a circus that's come to town. All you see, you say you own a restaurant. All you see is that there's a huge line outside your door. You've got 100 people waiting to get in your restaurant. There's hours of waiting. You have people that are like, okay, I'm not going to wait this long for food. I'm going to go to some other restaurant. So you, as the business owner, you're like, wow, what am I doing? Like, because my restaurant is so small, I'm losing out on all this potential revenue because these people don't want to wait around. I understand that. I wouldn't want to do the same thing. I don't want to wait hours and hours for food. So you decide, you know what? This is definitely going to pay for itself. Based on all these people who want to come into your restaurant, if I just expand it, I've got plenty of room here. It's not like I'm in a downtown area where I'm limited by space. I can easily cut into the parking lot, and I can even buy the next lot over. I can add on to the parking lot. I'm going to double the size of my restaurant to accommodate all these people who want to get into my restaurant. Think of what this will do for my revenues for my restaurant. So the person decides to do this. So, and then they're looking at it, well, based on interest rates are super low, close to 0%. Man, they're basically giving money away. This only makes sense. Why wouldn't I do this? So the restaurant owner decides, okay, yeah, let's go through building the project. Say it takes 24 months to complete. Once you finally built the building, well, now the circus is gone, or whatever sort of temporary stimulus you saw for your restaurant was because of, which you didn't realize it, but it was because of this artificial government stimulus. And so now you have this restaurant that's doubled in size, but you now have your fixed costs have, well, they probably haven't quite doubled, but they've certainly increased. And now you have a lot of empty space. And now you just bought an additional lot. You have more debt you have accumulated because you're thinking at the time this all made sense. This is only going to be green. This is only going to make your business bigger. This is only going to make you more profitable as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. But then it all goes to hell. And you're wondering like, wait, what the hell? I had people lined up out the door. I had hundreds of people in a queue outside. And now where the hell is the queue at? But it's because of the government stimulus that caused that in the first place. The artificial demand brought on by these low interest rates. And that is what's going on right now in the economy. Millions of entrepreneurs out there, millions of small businesses, big businesses, they're looking at these low interest rates. They're looking at projects that seem like a great idea because of the low interest rates. If the interest rates were, say, around, normal, or I guess you'd consider what probably the normal sort of interest rate, say around 5%, you might think, okay, maybe that's not a good idea. No, I won't make my money back if I'm paying that much in interest to the bank to build this project. So a lot of these projects that are not extremely demanded by the consumer won't get built. But when projects are demanded on a slim margin, but because they make sense because of the low interest rates and the artificial demand that creates, that causes massive misallocation of resources in the economy. And that's exactly what's happened for over 10 years in our economy today. And most people don't see it. Most people don't understand this. This is the Austrian view of the business cycle. You go turn on CNBC, go turn on Fox Business. Most people don't understand this stuff. Now you do see more and more people kind of opening up and definitely agreeing with a lot of the Austrian business cycle, but they're not calling that. They don't realize that's what it is. It's kind of become more common knowledge today with quite a few commentators compared to what it used to be. Most people, there's still, please don't get me wrong as I'm saying this. No, the vast majority of economists out there, the vast majority of people you do see on these news programs, they're Keynesian economists. George W. Bush, a Keynesian. Obama, Keynesian. Nixon, Keynesian. Was it Nixon with the Time Magazine article, the front cover, showing the two hands shaken? We're all Keynesians now. The Keynesian view of economics that basically it's all about increasing aggregate demand, that the reason we have recessions is because you see demand falling and the government needs to step in to provide that demand, and that'll prevent prices from falling. If prices fall, then workers are hurt, and when workers can't spend money, then that's not going to boost the economy because you don't have demand. So you got to make sure the workers doing well. That's why, Nancy Pelosi, she was one of her points talking about the stimulus bill way back in the day with the jobs program and providing unemployment benefits, that's really a stimulus. That's all the Keynesian view. That it's the workers, the average, the middle class person, they're the ones who spend the most money. They save the least. And the Keynesians view savings as really evil. But see, this is where the Austrians differ. The Austrians see savings as beneficial. Savings is the only reason that the economy grows. That is how it really works. What works in your life as an individual is what works for society as a whole. It's the exact same principles. They're not two different principles. If you want to buy a bigger house or a nicer car, you got to have savings. You first have to produce so that you can consume. You can't just demand a Mercedes or a Lamborghini. You have to produce a huge quantity of goods that people want. And if you make a lot of money, okay, you can go buy that $400,000 Lamborghini. But if you can't produce that amount of goods, You can demand a Lamborghini all you want. You ain't getting it, okay? That's how the world works. So you must first produce in order to consume. A very simple concept. And now, actually, another way of talking about and describing the Austrian view of, the business cycle, and this is kind of the general sort of analogy that's used. Like I know Bob Murphy's used it. So say you got a guy on an island, and he's picking berries. Now I'm going to kind of add my own into this analogy here. Let's say you need 50 berries a day to survive. So you pick 50 berries a day. Basically, let's say that takes you 6 hours to do that. So, right now you still have quite a bit of leisure time. You only work in 6 hours a day. Just pick your berries, but you're only surviving with that. You have no standard of living at all. Just getting by day to day. But now let's say you're like, you know what? Maybe if I really worked hard and I worked 12 hours a day, I picked 100 berries in a day. And if I did that for a week, that would allow me so I could sustain without having to pick berries at all for a whole entire week. So you decide to do that. You're working your butt off 12 hours a day for a week. Okay, so now you've accumulated 350 extra berries than you normally need. So you can get through the next week. Now this whole next week you decide you're not picking any berries. You're like, you know what? If I can spend my time instead of picking berries, maybe if I can create something that will make it so I'm more efficient at picking berries, then I can do something more with my life. Maybe I can improve my shelter instead of just kind of living under a tree. And so that week that you don't have to pick berries because you have savings, right? Because you underconsumed for a week, you now have savings. Now you're taking that savings and you've now produced a sort of net with that week. And what have you created with that? You created a tool. That's now a capital good. So now let's say you can, with that net, you can now gather 100 berries a day on the 6 hours. So now you've doubled your productivity with this net. Well, now let's say if you want to do the same thing, you want to work 12 hours a day with that net, but now you can have 2 weeks to produce something even better than a net. So you do it. I don't know what the heck that would be. Or maybe you have some other good that you want, or you create something so you can actually have fish in your diet as well. Maybe this, but this is how it works in the economy. As you have more savings in the economy, because this guy saved berries, that allowed him to go about, basically result in a more roundabout production process so that he could become more efficient and productive. Because that's the Austrian view, that the more savings you have, the more far removed from the finished product you can be. That's why the Austrians like to use the word, roundabout, the roundabout production process. It's the structure of production. So that's why this all works with, the skyscraper curse and the cruise line curse, the cruise ship curse. In that, well, because of all this money that the Fed's printed into the economy, this $4.5 trillion, these low interest rates, 10 years of basically 0% interest rates. What has this done? This artificial fake money, this funny money, this monopoly money has been seen as real savings in the economy. And so entrepreneurs are looking like, hey, and businesses like, say, Royal Caribbean, they're like, wow, look, with all this demand, look at this. We had, 2017, that was a great year. But 2018, it's looking even better. It's going to be 6% better than what 2017 was. And so Royal Caribbean has come out with the largest ship in the world. And in 2016 to 2017, comparing those 2 years, passenger levels increased by 10%. So they're all, so from the cruise ship's perspective, they've only seen more demand for their products. When you see more demand for your products, as a businessman, you're looking at, well, damn, I need to invest more in building more cruise ships. People obviously demand cruises, and that's the way they're looking at it, which it all makes perfect sense. But this is what I'm getting at, though. All of this demand is artificially pumped up because of all the funny money out there. The people who benefit from inflation and from this artificial money are the people who get the money first. The people who tend to get the money first, it's the banks and who they trickle it out to. It's people favored by the government favored businesses, And yeah, farmers, we get the money before most other people because at least I can take advantage as a farmer. I can take advantage of higher commodity prices and make more profit in the field. But by the time you get this good, you get that steak with your meal at a restaurant, the prices have gone up. So the farther you are away from the final consumer good, the better off you are, because the way that the money trickles through the economy is going through the structures of production. And, like I've heard Tom Woods on his show, and I think this was like a Mises example referring to the guy building a brick house. It's like, well, it seems like you have plenty of bricks based on how things are in the economy now. But then eventually, once you realize that, wait, where's all the bricks at? Oh, there's not enough bricks. When you don't have enough bricks, you can't finish the house. Here you thought with all the bricks that you were going to have, you're going to build this huge mansion. Say it was going to be, 10,000 square feet. But now you realize, well, geez, you really only had enough bricks for a 3,000 square foot house. You're kind of short. You can't even finish it. And that's what happens. That is when the bust happens in the economy. Now, the average person out there, they're looking at what's going on in the economy. They're like, oh my gosh, recessions are horrible. This is brought on by capitalism, the boom and bust of capitalism. It's unsustainable. That's why we need more sustainability. That's why we need socialism. That's why we need Bernie Sanders. That's how these guys think. But what they don't get, what they don't understand, all this was brought on because of the Federal Reserve and these artificially low interest rates and this funny money floating around in the economy, going to favored businesses, because of, the number of lobbyists these guys have in Washington, D.C., because these businesses get to spend the money before the prices really go up. So they get a good deal. So those people who first get the money, they're getting something for nothing. They're getting a real good in exchange for funny money. And it keeps going on down the line until the average person out there, you're receiving funny money from your job and you go to turn it in for real good. It's like, wait, what? The price of the good that I normally buy has doubled in price. You just got paid the same amount that you normally get at your job, but now your prices for your goods are double? What has happened to that person? You've just become a hell of a lot poorer. Your cost of living has gone up a lot. You are poor. That is how things happen in the economy. That is what's going on right now. We're seeing the largest cruise ships in the world that keep getting built because, look, there's a lot of demand for these guys, these cruises. And a lot of this is going to be going down with the bust when this economy pops. A lot of these things that are seen as good investments, like, yeah, we got to keep building new cruise ships. And actually here, when I was looking at, I want to look at other new cruise ships that are coming. Get this. Let's see, where is this? Okay, so Royal Caribbean, as I told you guys earlier here, Royal Caribbean just came out this year with Symphony of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the world. Well, guess what? Let's see, what is this? Is it right? Where the heck did it go? Royal Caribbean in, I want to say it's 2020. Where the heck did that go? Oh, it's right here. Like as I was mentioning earlier, how, cruise ships, they first plan for the building of their ships years in advance. Well, right now, Royal Caribbean has scheduled, right now they don't have a name for the ship. They're calling it Oasis V. So I talked about the Oasis ship earlier, the ship I was on for the last Contra cruise, which used to be back in 2009 the largest cruise ship in the world. Right now it's the second largest cruise ship in the world. But this ship that Royal Caribbean is planning on building in early 2021 is when it's going to launch. Sorry, it's not when it's going to be built. It's when it will officially be completely built and launched, and it's got its first cruisers on the ship. In early 2021, this ship will become the new largest ship in the world. It's going to be slightly bigger than Symphony of the Seas, and this is coming from the CEO of Royal Caribbean, Michael Bailey. So there you have it, my friends. The ships keep getting bigger. The skyscrapers keep getting bigger. This is all because we're in a gigantic bubble that's going to pop. And this is what's happening. I keep saying this over and over again on this show. As interest rates keep going up, the Federal Reserve thinks they're doing the right thing, which actually they are doing the right thing for once in their lives. Interest rates have to go up. Interest rates are far too low. But this is going to reveal how strong the economy really is. It's not that strong. It's all based on this funny money, this fake credit out there. So when you're building the house and you just realized, oh crap, I don't have enough bricks to build the house. What do? Well, you originally planned on, based on building this house, maybe you're going to sell it to someone, you're going to make a huge profit, you're going to have a huge windfall profit with it. Well, you can't complete the house, so what's a half-built house worth? You're probably going to lose your butt. You're not going to make the money you put into it for a half-built house. It's got to be complete. That is what happens when a recession happens. Those malinvestments are seen for what they are, malinvestments. And now people with the smart allocators of capital out there, they come in, they swoop in, they buy that guy's half-built brick house. They buy it for pennies on the dollar. Then they finish building it with their capital, and then they turn a profit on it. That is the correction process that takes place with a recession. Don't be that guy with the half-built brick house. If you're the guy with the half-built brick house, you're going to get wiped out. Protect yourself. Get the hell out of the way of this funny money that's going to destroy a lot of people out there. All these people who are living high on the hog, thinking the great days are not going to end, that didn't learn from 2008, they're going to get destroyed again. So anyway, guys, this is one of the main reasons I started the show in the very beginning. I want to explain these things. I want more people to be aware of what the hell is going on. So ladies and gentlemen, we are on the verge of another bubble collapsing and popping. And it's going to be way worse than what happened in 2008. Yes, protect yourself. Anyway, guys, you can catch up on my old episodes at justinmooreshow.com. More is spelled M-O-H-R. Just click on the little links I have there. If you're buying through Amazon, I get a small commission back. Costs you nothing extra. Join Tom Wood's Liberty Classroom. Go on the Contra Cruise. Go to Freedom Fest. I'll be at both of those events. And also, guys, if you donate to my show, I will give you my bonus episodes that will tell you how to save hundreds and hundreds of dollars when you go to Vegas. And like, say if you're going to Freedom Fest, you're going to pay for your $50 just right there in that trip. It's that easy. And actually, with all the traveling I've been doing, I'm starting to understand a lot of ways that you can save money, and I'm just understanding the experiences I've gained. In the future here, I'm going to be releasing an episode talking about how I got a rental car for 6 days for $58. Yeah, I can tell you guys how to save a lot of money. And so if you do that, donate to my show. You will definitely get your money's worth. That's for sure. And also have some stock tips. There's 2 stocks I recommend in one of my bonus episodes. It's one of the best ways I see to benefit and to invest money in the gold and silver market, where you're not just investing in a miner, which miners, they do go bust. Things do happen. This is a super safe way to play it. You also basically have a leveraged bet on the value of gold and silver. So as gold and silver go up, say they go up and they double in price, well, you'll make, say 4 times your money instead of just a simple double. So it's a great way to play it. If you think gold and silver are going up like I do, then I'm telling you guys, look no further. $50 for my bonus episodes. Man, that is a hell of a deal. So anyway, guys, actually, I should say one more thing before I finish off here. So I realized I was always planning on this week of going to London, and now I realize it's the royal wedding is going on. Well, so hopefully things aren't too hectic. Maybe I'll swing by the royal wedding. I don't know. I don't usually like to get when things are way too crazy. Who knows? Anyway, guys, I will talk with you guys when I get back from London, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore signing off.